Welcome back to Raceweek Illustrated Garage Talk. Last week we told you about the inductees into the Georgia Racing Hall of Fame for 2012. Among those being inducted are 1970 Daytona 500 champ Pete Hamilton, multi-time Dixie Speedway champion and NASCAR driver Bill Ingram, all-time NHRA Pro Stock Drag Racing winner Warren Johnson, longtime dirt track and asphalt ace Doug Kenimer, and sprint car champ Herman Wise. The induction banquet is coming up on Friday, October 26th at the Hall of Fame in Dawsonville, Georgia. And with that in mind, we wanted to take a moment to give you a closer look at the 5 inductees.
My first real introduction to Georgia racing was at Lakewood, and we went down there to run. Of course, as you know, it's a 1 mile flat dirt, beautiful racetrack. I tell you, I am so grateful that I got the opportunity to run Lakewood while it was still there. We went down there, and I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to sit on the pole for that race. And Tiny Lund was outside pole. Of course, Tiny, he'd been running dirt a lot more than I had, and he said, "Now, Yankee," he said, "I'm going to beat you down into that first turn." And I said, "Tiny, I don't think you're going to do that, buddy." And so we went down into that first turn, the first lap of the GT race. We never made it. We didn't make it out of the first turn. Forget going through the second turn. We went straight in the wall, the both of us. And so Tiny and I had many, many laughs about that for a long time thereafter.
Back when I started racing, we got to racing together. We ran 2 races at Dixie, and we started on the front row together. And the first race, I was inside, he was outside, and he beat me by half a car length coming to the checker flag, coming off turn 4. And the second time, I beat him by half a car length coming to the checker flag, coming off turn 4. Both of them was at Dixie.
And I told them too, if something happened during that race and they wrecked and hit each other, that I was just walking out of the track. I wasn't saying nothing.
We raced each other harder than we raced anybody else, because you know he said that he felt like he'd done his job if I could outrun him, so he was going to make sure he'd done his best to stop me from doing it.
Probably when I look at it in the big picture, so to speak, it's the fact that I was able to make a living at what I enjoyed. Then you don't have to work for a living.
I was going up the road with the ramp truck. The people hollered at me on the CB and they said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going up to Eldor to run the World 100. And they said, "Well, how much motor you got?" I said, 355 cubic inches. They said, "Well, just get off at the next exit and go on back home." And then luckily I fooled them, you know. When the track got dry, big motor didn't make no difference.
Probably the most favorite memory maybe that I have would be in the middle 70s when he actually, because he did not have any boys, he allowed my sister and I to be his pit crew, which was great for us because we enjoyed, you know, spending the time with him at the racetracks or in the garage when we were much, much younger. But he allowed us to be part of the pit crew and help change his tires that night, and that was just probably a fantastic night for us because he included us even though we were his girls, his boys that were girls.
Towards the end of that race, David and I were running 1-2, and we were at the front of the pack and kind of pulling away from some of the other people, and we had a caution flag came in the pits, and David took 2 tires, and Richard called me back in the pits to take on left side. So I had 4 fresh tires, and he had 2, and that was something that really paid big dividends. We had maybe 15, 20 laps to go. And, you know, after about 5 laps, those cars and the speeds, we were running a little bit over 200 at the time, and kind of similar to the speeds they run today. They wore out the tires very, very fast. So the fresh tires on the left paid a little dividends, and I had, by that time in the race, I got very comfortable, and I got by Pearson real quick in the start on the restart, and he made a couple of shots at me, and we got real close a couple times. And although we never bumped, we come close, and went on and won that show. And I tell you, it was a real thrill for me. I guarantee you. First time to win driving for Petty's, and first time in that Superbird.
To do anything he could, just like when he wrestled the bear. No one else wrestled the bear, before. And the first time they brought Ginger the bear to the racetrack, whenever evidently she had passed for some reason, and whenever they got her to the racetrack, I kept telling Bill that she was too scared to wrestle him. And then the school bus jump, no one had ever done that before without practicing first, and that was his first time ever doing that.
He had a love for the people. I mean, he loved to race and loved the competition, but he would stay till they turned the lights off on us at Dixie after the races, as long as people come up wanting to talk to him. Or
get his autograph or anything. And we made shirts and hats and everything, and he would just give them to the fans, because that was his drive, to please them and everything. And he always wanted to give what he could.
Well, when you look at it realistically, you've got to beat everybody there. There's only going to be one winner, and there's going to be a plethora of losers. So to be that one winner, you've got to view everybody as a competitor. And, racing, the sport that it is, it's such a passionate sport that people get involved in it. They pursue it with, every fiber of their being. And when it's that way, you have to look at everybody as being a potential winner. So you've got to address everybody with the same amount of respect.
There was no doubt. Bud Lunsford, Charlie Minson, Leon Sales, Leon Archer. That's the cream of the crop right there. Lots more that could win, but you had to beat them every week. If you started on Thursday night racing, a lot of nights we run Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You had to beat them every night.
I would say what he was most proud of was his win at the Little Indy 500. I think that was probably the biggest event in his career. Even as much, probably reliving that excitement when they had the 20th reunion and invited him back. His good friend Dave Young, who was actually an instrumental part of his racing career, had restored the car. And they had the original driver there, they had the original car, the original trophy, and the original helmet. And I remember Dad talking about it, and we were not able to go with him back to Pennsylvania because I know our children were very young then. But Dad was it was almost like reliving probably that again. He was just very excited about going for the parade, and the presentation that they had was very special to him.
Thanks to Tucker Dixon for his great work on those inductee videos, which will be seen in full at Friday night's ceremony. And tickets are now available for the Georgia Racing Hall of Fame's 2012 induction ceremony. You can purchase them online by visiting GeorgiaRacingHOF.com, or you can call the hall 706-216-RACE. We'll be right back.